Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Man Podcast. My name is Rory Paquette, and I am, as always, your very grateful host. Thank you all for joining us today for this solo episode. We have had some incredible interviews on lately. I hope you guys have enjoyed them. We have a lot more to come. We're finishing up our first week of being on the air every day, Monday through Friday. And your response has been un- unbelievable. I had another episode scheduled for today. I bumped it so that I could do this one to come on here today, deliver a short message, and say thank you to all of you. Without you folks, this show isn't here. That's just the bottom line. So, um, before we any move further, we're going to take a sip of one of our preferred beverages. Yeah, that's right. Drinking it iced tonight. Probably heard the crackling of the ice cubes, but I've been drinking hot coffee nonstop for months. Figured iced coffee might be good. Um, if you're a friend of the program, and I'm sure you are, you know what we're drinking. That's right. It's Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Deep, dark, rich, bold, and beautiful, just like my wife. They brew a mean bean. They do all the right things for all the right reasons. They support veterans, which is why we support them. Check them out at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Tell them Power Man sent you. You will not be sorry. Folks, wanted to bring up a couple of points today in the middle of this utterly fantastic day we've had. Been doing interviews nonstop. We have all kinds of incredible men coming up on interviews scheduled for the next, several months. And it's really amazing. I have had so many fantastic coaching clients talking and making progress and starting businesses, starting podcasts. Um, I would be remiss if I did not throw out a big thank you to Jose Galvan. He is the guy who owns Colors of Honor, and he's also uh, he's one of my coaching clients. And tonight, I protect that confidentiality with my life. I would never let anybody know who one of my coaching clients is. But tonight on the Power Man Within in our private Facebook group, Jose decided he was going to um, do a live and talk about the coaching that we've done and how much it has helped him and his marriage and his family. Um, about how his wife clears time so that nothing stands in the way of him making our appointments, for our talks. Um, Thank you, brother. I'm sure you're listening to this because I know you listen to the podcast. So let me just say thank you. Jose went out and put himself out there and said, "Hey, I am one of Rory's clients. I work with him all the time. If you guys haven't heard that and you're in the Power Man Within group, please go back and watch that live." Jose really lays himself out, and I think it deserves your time and attention. If you want to know what he said and you're not a member of the group, you probably can join. Join. There's a link in the bio of the podcast in our show notes. Go ahead and click that link. It'll take you to Power of Man Within on Facebook, and it's a Facebook group, private but free. And go ahead and fill out the questions and send it in. And if you're approved, then you can join the group. We don't take everybody. We can't do that. So we're looking for like-minded men, husbands and fathers who are out there working hard, or young men and men of any age really who want to become fathers and husbands. Men in general who want to be better tomorrow than they are today as men. That's the group. And if you join the group, you get to hear what he had to say. So, Jose, one more time, thank you, brother. It's my honor to work with you and to be here for you and your family. Um, so it's been a one hell of a day. It really has. Couple of notes that I wanted to share with you guys today. The Had a father ask me, a while back about unconditional love from a father to his children, because he had been hearing all about it. We hear about it all the time. And he said, of course I love my child unconditionally. That's just ridiculous. And I said, okay, let me just ask you a question. Do you hug your child? And he said, well, yeah, when it's appropriate. And I said, okay, um, when you hug your child and you're mad at him, do you give him a full hug or do you give him a partial hug? And father's answer to me was, I give him a partial hug, because I'm not happy with what he's doing. And I said, right there, you're demonstrating conditional love. If the grip of the hug, if the tension in the hug, if the intent behind the hug is less because he's made you upset, then you're teaching him that if he makes you upset, he doesn't receive as much affection as he would if he didn't make you upset. And I've actually had that conversation with every single man I've ever coached at one point or another, and in some way, shape, or form, because it's so common, especially among men. When we get upset or, when our children aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, we want to let them know that we're not happy with them. And very often we use passive aggressive techniques like that. And we figure, it's not going to hurt. I'm not yelling at them. We're not spanking them or anything. But the damage that something like that does lasts a very long time. And so what I told this father, a very quick fix, frankly, if you want to improve the relationship with your children is, when they're leaving or you're leaving or whatever it is, when you see them, when they walk in, when it's appropriate, give them a hug. Just give them a hug. Walk over to them, put your arms around them, give them a hug, give them a tight hug. Let it last for, like a 2 count at the very least, you know, hold them tight. Excuse me. Give them a good squeeze. Let them know that they're loved no matter what. Okay. If you're in an argument with them, don't leave the argument without giving them a hug. All right. I know that, for my sons and I, that's the end of an argument. When we're done arguing, we give each other a hug. And that is basically to say, look, it's over. It's done. And no matter what happened over the last, 20 minutes or however long it was, I still love you more than anything in this world. And it's important. It truly is. So I wanted to spread that. I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out. That's a free tip to anybody. If you're a father and you're struggling to connect with your kids, just try that one thing. Just that one thing. Even if you don't feel like you're struggling to connect, have you hugged them lately? Start doing it. Start doing it regularly and see how your relationship changes. Such a simple thing. Such a simple show of affection to your child. And yet so many of us, we're men and we were taught not to show that. And we figure, well, I don't hug my kids. I don't kiss my kids. No, he's my son. We shake hands, right? Maybe we shake hands with one hand and then bro hug with the other arm. I don't know. It works, guys. It's been a staple of mine. It's been one of the most popular tools in my toolbox for as long as I've been a father. And it matters. It matters to you. It matters to the kids. And when you see the reaction that you get um, after you do it, then just keep doing it. If they don't hug you back, so what? Still give them a good hug. And just keep right on going. Simple little stuff like that, guys, will change your relationship. Now, right now, you're like, we have big, deep problems. A hug's not going to change anything. Oh my gosh. Do not say that. Do not let that seep in. Do not gaslight yourself. Don't buy it. It's nonsense. The simplest thing can change everything. So that's one thing I wanted to pass on to you guys tonight. The other thought was this. I had a conversation with a podcast guest today. He's not going to be on for a few more weeks, but I had this, conversation with him, a little back and forth. It was during our pre-interview. We were talking about things like accountability and how do men break free from making excuses and from being our own worst enemies. And this podcast guest, he said to me, I always think about who's watching me. And I always think, am I making them proud? And I thought in my mind, who is it you're trying to make proud? Who is that? And we didn't have that conversation, but I had the conversation in my own mind, of course. And I said, I wonder in my life, who is it that I'm worried about making proud? And I thought of all the men that, I coach and that I work with on a regular basis. And I asked myself, who are those men trying to make proud? And, I think it really boils down to something very simple, just like the hug. The simplest answers can be the best. I think it boils down to if you're wondering if you should be doing what you're doing, ask yourself, am I making these people proud? And I'm going to give you these people in order: one, two, and three. And for this one, the order matters. Excuse me. It is very late at night. I've had 50 interviews. I apologize, gentlemen. It's a good thing I have more of this coffee. I probably should have gotten away from the iced coffee and just stuck with the hot stuff, but we're gonna power through. That's what we do. We power up, we power on, and we power through. Um, so who am I trying to make proud? If I'm wondering, is it okay what I'm doing? Am I living my best life? Am I doing the best that I can do to be a father, to be a husband, right? To be a child of God? Then who am I trying to make proud? And honestly, that's it right there. And the first thing that I look at in doing what I'm doing right now, whatever it might be, am I making my children proud? And guys, I list them first because I believe in the axiom that the people who depend on you have to be more important to you than you are to you. I believe that with every fiber of my being. I always have, I always will. And I'll preach it on this program until the day that I die. But am I making my children proud with what I'm doing right now, in this moment, on this day? If I can truly say I'm making my kids proud, then you know what? Keep doing it. You're on the right track. If I'm not, if they would look at me with disappointment, if they would look at me with questions in their eyes like, Dad, why are you doing that? Then I shouldn't be doing it. The second test that I give myself is, am I making my parents proud? My parents proud? Now, in my case, and in many of your cases, we may not have parents that are worth making them proud. I don't worry 1 ounce whether or not I ever make my father proud, because he was an utter disgrace to fatherhood, to the world, um, to humanity, frankly. But I do ask myself, in doing what I'm doing, am I making my mother proud? My mother was a single Italian woman who fought so hard to take care of her children. She got cancer and was told that she had 6 months to live, and she lasted 16 years with 6 months to live because she just was not giving up. She fought and fought and fought because she wanted to see us grow up. She wanted to see us go to college. She wanted to see us get married. She wanted to see her grandchildren. And with the exception of one of them, she did. She made it long enough to meet two of her three. Two of her three grandkids. And so I asked myself, in doing what I'm doing right now, would I be making my mother proud? And for a grown man to be asking that question, well, does that make me a mama's boy? Or does it just mean that I have a lot of respect for my mother? Does it mean that we would have a lot of respect for our parents in this situation, depending on who it is you're thinking of when I say that? And does it mean that we just care that they sacrificed to give us the lives we have in the same way that we now sacrifice to give our kids the life that they have? And if I'm doing something that wouldn't make them proud, maybe I shouldn't be doing it. And the third thing, and the reason I have it third is not because it's, third in importance, but because it's sort of the final test. In doing what I'm doing right now, am I making God proud? God sees what I'm doing right now. I can't hide anything from him. He sees my actions and he knows my heart. He knows what my motivations are. He knows what drives me. And so in all things like that, am I making God proud? There's going to come a time when I'm going to have to answer for that. There's a time in our lives, gentlemen, where we all have to answer for that. When the day comes and we're standing at the gates, we're talking to St. Peter, it's too late to worry about whether or not we made God proud at that point. So I encourage you all to think about it now while you still have a chance to change, to alter your behavior. I mean, talk about waiting until it's too late, brother. Okay. I mean, really, that's beyond H hour. I mean, by the time I'm looking at St. Peter and he's, got his pad and his clipboard and he's looking up my name, there's no time to file an appeal. So I ask myself, in doing what I'm doing right now, am I making God proud? And you know what, gentlemen, if the answer to all three of those is yeah, I am, then you can feel really sure that you're okay. You can feel certain about your path. You can feel like, hey, you know what? If I'm making my kids proud, if I'm making my parents proud, if I'm making God proud, you know what? I'm doing something right. That's a pretty good litmus test for how we should live our lives, don't you think? Give it a shot. The next time you're sitting there and you're thinking something or you're doing something or you're planning something or you're reacting to something, ask yourself, am I making my children proud? Am I making my parents proud? Am I making God proud? Guys, I'm telling you, when you take those two things and it's, did you give your kids a hug? And did you make these people proud? If you just lived your life on those two terms, that's it. You'd have a pretty doggone happy life, wouldn't you? We don't have to make it that complicated, guys. We don't have to sit here and split the atom, you know? We don't have to figure out the Rubik's Cube in order to live life. Am I showing unconditional love? Am I giving hugs? And am I making these very important people proud? That's it. That's all. Gentlemen, I hope you try it. I really do. When I put this into action, I I became lighter. I breathed easier because I realized how simple it was to judge myself. When you get past those barricades, when you get past those terms and conditions, everything else kind of falls into place. Because when you're talking about unconditional love and making the people that are important in your life proud, I mean, you're you're either on the right track or you're not. And if you're meeting those conditions and you're on the right track, brother, you're in pretty good shape. I want to encourage you guys to give that a try. I really do. I hope you do. And when you do, and when you realize it, and when you realize, you know, I didn't even think about this, and I could have been doing this differently all this time. And when you see the changes that come from it, the way the behavior shifts, the way your intention shifts, the way that unconditional love is returned, you know, when you see that, message me. Let me know. Rory, that episode, the hug, thumbs up emoji. That's all you got to do. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to know that one of you guys put this into practice and made it work. It would make my day. So, gentlemen, always remember that the reason to do these things, the reason we talk about these things, is because you do have value. You do matter. And you are worth it. And somehow, you just have to believe it. Until next time.